everybody. I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome back to 40 Years of Great Games. This is where I'm taking a look back at the last 40 years, which is almost as long as I've been alive, and look at the best games from each year. Now, when we get back to some of these early years, I have to combine them, so this is 3 years today, 1980 through 1982. I should mention that when I'm talking about these, I'm talking about tabletop games such as board games, miniature games, and card games. I'm leaving out role-playing games because they are kind of another category. So here we go. Number 10 is Spiel, which is just the word for game. This came out in 1980. This was reprinted a couple years ago. I find this one merely okay, which is why it's number 10. I do like the fact that it comes with a ton of dice and you're building a pyramid with them, and there's actually multiple games that you can play with it. It's because there's a ton of dice that it's on my list. Number 9 is 1981 game Axis and Allies. Axis and Allies is certainly one of the definitive games of my childhood, where I played this game, which simulated World War II, a war game that came with lots of plastic miniatures, but was on a very much lighter level than many of the war games that Avalon Hill was producing at the same time. Grandiose, fun, big, certainly one that has lasted the test of time. It's still being produced 40 years later, and there's many different variations in different theaters of war. Number 8 is another game that's still in stores today, and that's Sequence. Sequence is really a simple game where you have these playing cards all over the board, and you're trying to get different your tokens in a row by playing the cards. It's a very simple game. It's not a game that I'd want to play much today, which is why it and Axis and Allies are lower on the list. But it is a game that has spread a lot of joy to a lot of people, and some of the ideas in Sequence have been used in other games. Number 7 is, I think a lot of these games on this list are on this list because they're still in print to this day. And that is Family Business, 1982 from Mayfair Games. In Family Business, you are a mob family trying to take out the other mobster families of the other players who are playing. You do this by playing cards on them, trying to wipe them out. It's the very definition of what I call a take that game. I play good cards on you, on myself. I play bad cards on other people, and has, again, stood the test of time. Number 6 is A House Divided. This is a Civil War style game, which is kind of one of the precursors to many of the modern war games that are out there. At the same time, it is not that complex. It's a fairly simple style game and brings into effect a movement of leaders and different things of the Civil War. Number 5 is Can't Stop by Sid Saxon. Can't Stop is what the title says, where you roll dice and are moving them up, and it's a push your luck game, and each turn, do you want to stop or do you want to roll the dice again, trying to match numbers? You can roll 2s and 12s fewer times to reach the top. If you get 3 of your tokens to reach the top, you win. You could technically win Can't Stop on one turn. I haven't done it yet, but I will. Number 4 is Slapshot. This is a hockey game, which the best way to describe Slapshot is a glorified game of war. But knowing what your opponent has in their hands, trying to play cards, you can play a whole season of Slapshot where you'll be switching in and out players. Hilarious artwork. This is a game that I shouldn't like as much as I do, but I think it's very fun. I even have it in my collection. Slapshot. Number 3 spawned a whole series of games, and that's Empire Builder from 1982. This is a crayon rail game where you actually draw the railroad tracks on the board, connecting dot to dot, and then moving your train, picking up goods from one spot and delivering them to another. There's many, many games that have come in the same series that go to the moon, that go to Mars, that go to many of the different countries. They all started here in the United States map of Empire Builder. Number 2 is a really cool game, which probably has been replaced by video games, but I really enjoyed it, and that's Ace of Aces. And they made many versions of this. Ace of Aces, each player had a book. And you would turn to the same page in a book, and your planes are going at each other. And you would pick a maneuver, they would pick a maneuver, you'd tell each other maneuvers, and then you would pick, and it would tell you what page you turned to in a book. And then it would show you what you saw out your front window, and you were trying to get behind the other person and shoot them. A very novel concept, again, probably gone now that you can just do video games, the same thing. But it was kind of a fun thing, even like in a car. I have one book, you have another. We both call out numbers, Ace of Aces. And finally, number 1, which was just reprinted a few years ago by Stronghold Games, is Survive Escape from Atlantis from 1982. This game about the sinking island of Atlantis, and you were just trying to get people off in boats without getting those boats capsized by whales, your people eaten by sharks, giant sea monsters getting rid of boats, and it's a very cutthroat style game, but also a lot of silly fun with some really cool components. Just a great, fun little game that's Survive. So those are my favorite games from 1980 to 1982. In the comments, tell me what yours are. Oh, before we go, though, some people are going to say, where's Civilization? Where's Titan? Well, the fact is, folks, I've never played either one of those. Titan is just too long, too much dice rolling that today I have no desire to play it. And I believe Civilization has been replaced by many superior games like Through the Ages and things like that, which is why I've never gone back and hunted that one down either. But I do know those exist, and those are probably many games' favorite from that period. All right, 40 years of great games. That's 6 years we've done so far, but we're going to start slowing down in the next video.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.